and then employee manuals and contracts. So a word about non-competes. It's funny, I hear this all the time. Non-competes are unenforceable. Not true. Non-competes are enforceable. And it really depends on the jurisdiction that you're in. In Virginia, it's really hard to enforce a non-compete against an employee. But if you have a non-compete with a business owner who has sold the business and has entered into a non-compete agreement, those tend to be more enforceable in Virginia, even if they're broader. So the question is, what is the circumstance of the non-compete? What state is it in? What are the provisions of the non-compete? Have a lawyer look at it. A lawyer experienced in dealing with this. Scope of the non-compete has to be reasonable in terms of duration, geographic location, definition of competition. All 50 states in the District of Columbia sort of abide by that rule, but that's where you get off the train and everybody goes in different directions. The states are all different in how they interpret it. Virginia, for example, does not allow a court to blue line or blue pencil a non-compete agreement. If there's any portion of the non-compete that's bad, the whole thing gets thrown out. Non-competes as distinguished from non-solicitation. Non-solicitation of customers and employees. If I'm the employer, I want to have a non-solicitation and non-hire. I don't want my former employee going out, starting up a new business or working for a competitor, and then trying to hire my employees. Even if the employee contacts the former employee without any solicitation, I don't want them hiring. We're in negotiations about this constantly with our clients and their employees. The employee wants just a non-solicitation and says, hey look, if I put an advertisement in the newspaper and I solicit only by an advertisement in the newspaper and they respond to that advertisement in the newspaper, then it's legitimate. I'm involved with a guy who's trying to start up a new business and he's past his non-compete period. But the non-compete had in it a provision that said any preparation to compete is a violation of this agreement, and you're not allowed to do it, either before you leave or after you leave during the non-compete period. Is that enforceable? Not in Virginia, but in Delaware it is, and that's where the law governs under this non-compete agreement. So he's being sued, and we have to advise them to be extremely careful. So the other advice we give to our clients is, hey, if you've got a non-compete and you represent one of the employees that's leaving the employer, because that's often the case, and they say, who should I talk to? Talk to this lawyer. The lawyer, first thing the lawyer should ask is, do you have a non-compete with your existing employer before you go to this new business? Because the new business should be aware of it, because if it's going to prohibit you from doing anything for the new business doesn't want to get involved because they may get brought into the lawsuit, which happens a lot. So always consider having this if you're representing the client, the company. Always consider having strong non-solicitation, non-hire, non-compete provisions. If you're working with the employee as your client, you want to steer them to the right lawyer who can represent their interests. If you go to a law firm that does mostly company representation, like us, then we're typically not going to accept an employee who's going against the employer because our bread and butter and our conflicts may prevent us from representing the employee. But if you go to a lawyer that's interested in working with employees only, and they are around the area, then they'll be able to help them with that. But we typically represent the company. Last, before we wind up, these are all sort of intermixed. Losing focus is really what I want to point out. I'm going to give you a couple of quick case studies. The serial entrepreneur loves to start new things. She loves to start new things. She started several businesses. She made a little bit of money each time. She sold it, and then she started another business. She keeps rolling it over into a new business. It's what I call business ADD. That's one example. I'm going to tell you how to deal with it. The other example is the visionary. I think I used this example previously, Telepad Corporation. They were over here at 1861 Wheelie Avenue, 1991 to 1996. I took them public. I served as their inside-outside general counsel, and we had New York counsel representing the company, and we had underwriters counsel representing the company. We took them public. This was a cool idea. You can actually Google it, and the founder, he calls himself Scott Joy today, but his name was Scott Dankney, which must have changed his name legally. Designed one of the very first pen computers, and again, the visionary, way ahead of his time. The vision was ahead of the technology. We were using 386 technology. Here are pictures of the device. I had one of these. I threw it in the trash the other day, but I should have just kept it. Should have just, because I was cleaning my house to move, but I should have just kept it for posterity, you know, because it was pretty cool. You could write on it, graphics. It would translate your handwriting like Palm Pilot did, and like you can do, you know, ubiquitously today on any device. But they were way ahead of their time. And it was a vision that he had. He tried to manufacture it, tried to sell it. We raised a lot of money in the public markets and private markets, and then we ran out of money because they couldn't get the sales because the technology just wasn't there. Then we had the inventor, the guy who likes to always create stuff and then get patents and start up new companies. They are pretty cool people to work with because they may create something that is the subject of the lawsuit that eventually was against BlackBerry that almost put them out of business. The technology that went into the creation of BlackBerry. You know, Samsung is in litigation, Apple is in litigation. Our firm doesn't represent these big giant companies. It's usually the big giant law firms that represent them in these massive lawsuits, but it's the patent inventor, the product developer. And they may raise some initial capital from angels, from friends and family, but they usually run out of time and they run out of business. And then lastly, the tinkerer. And this is the one that we'll call him Ricky. He loves to write. He loves an audience. He's a good speaker too. And his audiences absolutely love him. It's not me. It's not me. I don't know if my audience is loving it, but I love to speak. And he's created new ways of analyzing things and thinking of things. And he's written books on this subject. And he's given great seminars, and he just loves to get out there and do it. And he, more than anything, he loves to travel. So he built an infrastructure so that they'll help him, you know, create the materials for the courses that he's delivering, as well as some of the consultants that he's brought in who are really top flight people. But you can only give a seminar to people who are willing to attend it, and then the person who's giving the seminar has to be present for that seminar, unless you do it online, which is the solution to this problem. But the tinkerer just keeps tinkering. He just wants to go to Spain to give a $2,000 seminar. It's going to cost $2,000 to get back and forth from Spain, and another $3,000 to be there, but that's okay. He's making $2,000. These people who are the tinkerers, the serial entrepreneurs with business ADD, the inventors, I've run into all my career. I love them. They're lots of fun to deal with. But after a while, the people who are around them become fatigued or disenchanted or disillusioned, and they leave, or the business fails. Some people are very loyal to these people, and they stay with them to the bitter end, but then the business closes down. Loss of focus is inexcusable. If you are an entrepreneur and you maintain your focus, and you have people around you who allow you to maintain that focus and fulfill your plan, and keep tacking your business plan to the right direction, you will succeed. Either the business will shut down quickly and you will minimize your losses, or you will stay focused and you will succeed, because you will find a way to make it work. It's the ones who have the lack of focus, the businesses who are trying to be everything to everybody, to start up nonprofit institutions at the same time that they're selling to the commercial market, at the same time that they're doing government contracting. You can't do all those things. It's a great feeling to be able to do all that, and it's very exciting. It keeps you energized. But then you become one of these 4 folks who have lost their focus, and you will not succeed. I mean, I've seen it. Believe me, it happens over and over again. So next time, this room is going to be probably very crowded because we're going to be talking about planning the exit. How do we get to the sale of the company? What should we be telling our clients to do to exit the company if it's a sale or a transition to the next level? We've already built sort of all the building blocks up to that point. Now let's use them in a couple of case studies to figure out how we're going to exit and softly land, not crash and burn. Thank you so much for coming, and have a great day.
Okay, thank you.